Welcome to Making Sense of AI Together, the podcast that explores how artificial intelligence is reshaping our everyday lives. I'm Claudine Wank, journalist and news anchor.
And I'm Lisa Bernard, a former TV journalist, now creating AI content on my Instagram channel, Demystify AI. Each week, we break down the buzz, cut through the hype, and help you make sense of the AI that's becoming part of your world.
And if you liked that intro, yes, AI helped us write it. We are putting it all to the test. And welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you listening in as we talk about really a colossal shift that's happening now. We've talked about this before. It's not just in tech, it's in our entire world that we live in. And it's not so quietly, sometimes quietly, but not so quietly, reshaping really how we operate, how we make decisions, how we compete. And so you've got some people who are taking it by the bull by the horns, as we'd say, and sprinting ahead. Others are trying to figure out how this works and maybe not doing enough. Maybe they were just kind of sitting in place trying to figure it out. Most people, I think, somewhere in between, trying to figure out what's real, what might work, what might not work, what is just trending. So today we're going to go into the entrepreneur land and we're going to unpack it all, trying to navigate, transform with clarity instead of panic and quick fixes and quick ideas, and really talk about what it really means to kind of build. I think that's really important as we talk about businesses moving forward, adapt, how we stay relevant, how we don't get left behind.
Yeah, don't get left behind.
Yes.
It's here. The revolution is here. As we keep saying, don't ignore AI. AI is here. We got to learn to live with it, learn to harness it for our advantage. So we have an amazing guest to help us with all of this. Jonathan Wank, thank you for being here. A serial entrepreneur, now partner with Mindframe Partners, where he helps small and mid-sized businesses adopt an AI strategy, understand what they have to do during this huge disruptive period. And he's a longtime entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, I guess is what we call it. Businesses from visual effect and renewable energy to now 4 AI startups. And he's going to really share with us how he's discovered through trial and error what's possible with his 1-1-1 framework, where he created these AI companies. It was one product, 1 month, $1,000. So can't wait to hear about each of those. And that's what, today we're going to talk about the reality of the disruption of AI to businesses and what you can do about it, what John has learned through his experimentation. And we'll end on a high note that, there's hope.
Okay.
There's hope.
As long as we can end on the hope.
Yeah.
John, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. And that was a great introduction. Yes, things are going to change. There's going to be some tough things happening, but we are going to end on not just for businesses, but I think for the average person that engaging in AI, this is going to be a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, we'll hold you to that.
So
Yes.
basically AI, has appeared, and many of us know it as the chatbot initially. That's where people are, asking questions and answers. Within businesses, I know AI can help with the spreadsheets and, all of it, the business notes, the recording conference calls. You're talking about AI businesses, actual businesses, not using it, also using it within your current business, but also tell us how you see embracing AI being critical in 2025 and moving forward.
I have always loved being an entrepreneur, starting businesses. And to do that, obviously it's very difficult. So when I left my last company, I wanted to find out, okay, with AI, how does that change things? How does that make that more efficient? Being an entrepreneur, can I remove the things that I didn't like, which are things take too much time? You need multiple people, you need thousands of hours. It can take 6, 12, 24 months. And asking your friends and family for money, it can be getting investment where now you have an investor who's really another complexity to deal with. I'll just say that.
Yep.
So that's what I set out to do about a year ago is, can I use AI? Can I learn about it, then use it to start businesses more efficiently?
Can I ask you, okay, we've used this term serial entrepreneur. How many businesses have you started or tried to start?
Well, this might get therapeutic because a lot. The ones that Lisa mentioned and some others, those were more of the successes. I've started over 10.
Over 10. Okay.
With your average number, which is a lot of failures and retooling, but I've learned from them. So
Which I think entrepreneurs we only hear about that one success story. You don't hear about all the starts and stops and of all the other ones. So to be so in that space, I think that's not so unusual that
No.
if people really counted on how many, because it's an entrepreneurial mind and an entrepreneurial like willingness to keep putting yourself out there. Can you tell us about those businesses? Just because I want to know when we're going into it, like what is your background in terms of like what you studied and which businesses attracted to you before you went to this AI world?
I studied economics originally just because I didn't know what to major in. I got into visual effects during college, and I worked in Industrial Light and Magic doing special effects and commercials. And my first foray was in visual effects of going outside companies and having
Mm,
a firm, a consulting firm that basically did visual effects. And that sort of taught me how the process works. How do you start a company? I went into making content, an advertising agency that was doing interactive content that was really fascinating. We worked with major brands, but on things that were a lot more interactive rather than just trying to push media on commercials.
yeah.
It's funny, my things just kept going from there. While I was doing that, I met some people in the renewable energy world, starting something called the Solutions Project, which is transitioning the US to 100% renewable energy. That was a business science culture campaign. So I got into energy.
Mm,
You can sort of
yeah.
see starting businesses to me was the interesting part. I just, for better or worse, I went where my interest went from there, and it stayed in energy. I had a company, we did floating solar projects.
Ah.
So I think solar on water, which is very efficient in a lot of places. And we both developed projects, and we also did a lot of R&D to figure out, because we have a lot of water problems, how do we not only have energy in places like on the water where it's very efficient, but how do we solve the water quality issues and others? So I've just kind
You've
of,
been all over the
Yeah.
map.
for
And
better or worse.
did you think that each of those businesses were going to be the one big one?
You're asking a funny question, and Lisa and I were just talking about this
Don't
because
you always think it's going to be
I
the
always
one
think
big
that.
do.
one?
Yeah,
You
yeah, you
have
have
to,
I'm
to.
going to circle
right?
back to how
Yes.
AI deals with the sometimes over optimistic AI. But of course, as a founder, you have to have that belief that everything you're doing is going to be a massive success, or you wouldn't spend the
The time and
12, the
the
ridiculous
energy
time it takes. So
and the
of course
heartbreak when it doesn't,
Right.
like to enter back that in.
yeah.
No risk, no reward.
Yes, I've had the reward is sweet, but I've had, when you have failures or when things don't work out, obviously, this is like a child. So I've had both.
Yeah. And I think that probably when you go into what AI can bring, you looked at AI differently as an entrepreneur than maybe someone who's like, oh, I mean, I was just telling Lisa, I saw someone's post that, oh, I'm 26. I just got laid off from my finance
Yeah.
job and I got to find another job. And one of the comments was like, I'm 50. I'm going into AI. I'm going to start my own business. And I read it and I'm like, ooh, good luck. Because it's hard to do. Not that it's not impossible, but this idea that all of us can just do it is also maybe not
But I think John's
realistic.
here to tell us that we can.
Well, I think to come up with ideas, iterate,
Yeah.
and what I was trying to do in 1 month with my 111
Yes.
is good, because these people, yes, try it, take a month, take 2 months, get a minimum viable product, and you'll see if it works. You don't have to spend your life savings or a year. And
Tell us
that's what I think is
So,
tell
fun.
us how that worked. How you really committed to only giving it 1 month and only spending $1,000. Because I could imagine you being like,
mhm.
oh, I'm so close. I'm going to just do 32 days or whatever. How did you really stick to that sort of disciplined approach? And tell us about those businesses.
So I came up with this idea because I took a bunch of classes, which was a good start.
Yeah.
One was at Berkeley. It was an AI strategy and application class. And for my
Mhm.
capstone project, my final exam, which I would say my daughters were laughing at me about, because poor dad was like, "This is hard. Studying's hard." That was my capstone. That was my, okay, let's put these constraints on to test. And no matter what, it has to be a month. So remove everything else. If it's going to take too long, if it can't fit in that. And those constraints were great. I forced myself to do that because that's the point. The point is, can you figure out in a month if this is viable? And from there, you ditch it, you change it, or you accelerate it. You make it a real product.
Yeah, because I've started a couple businesses and it's easy to get down a rabbit hole,
I know.
a financial rabbit hole, a distraction rabbit hole. And if no one's pulling you back, you're like, yeah, I do think we should spend money on shirts for this one event,
Exactly.
even though we could just wear
Right.
regular shirts and not have
Yeah.
that output of money. Yeah, I do think we should spend a month working on a logo because that's really going to be the secret to our success.
Yes, and I think to bring it back to the average person, there's no reason you can't just get on ChatGPT or Claude. Those are the two I use, but the others are just as
Mhm.
good. And brainstorm. That's a great first step. If you have an idea, if you have a thought, now be careful because AI is it might be too optimistic. It may be going on data that's not quite real. Don't get caught up in this too much, but it's a great place to start for anyone thinking about a business or thinking about how can I use this technology? So just for the average person.
And tell us practically what that means. So you have an idea, and you can use an example of your owner. You have an idea, and you sit at the screen, and what do you type in? Are you trying to code? Are you trying to have a business plan, a strategy? The idea must come first, I'm guessing, from your own human brain.
Yes. So
And then what
it's
happens?
a great question. So I can put this in the frame of the first product that I
Great.
started. I, I was working with a contractor and they weren't getting back to me. I couldn't get a bid. And I actually knew they were using Post-its to follow leads. And it drove me nuts. Like I know this person didn't want to use CRM, which is understandable, but you're losing leads. So my
Mhm.
first product, I thought, hey, let's make it easy for people who want to follow leads to do so on their phone. You don't ever
Mhm.
have to sign up for so that I sat down and said, hey, what's the market for this? Who are the people? What are the contractors and the people who don't want to use? So I'm doing the full business plan. I'm
Mhm.
asking, hey, GPT, I'm going to come up with a full business plan. Before we start, take on the role of an investor. So be critical and help me understand.
Oh, it's a fascinating prompt.
Yes.
Yeah,
So because otherwise it's going to tell you you're the greatest thing on earth.
which
And
is nice,
And
but
too
probably
much,
not
yeah,
helpful.
too much.
it's nice, but we can talk about that. My relationship with these Chat GPT and Claude, like it's tenuous. Like I have a lot of stories. There's a lot of nights of yelling and loud, angry typing in all
all
caps.
caps.
Chew a machine. I know
Wow.
it's not rational. Anyway, so okay, great. Here are the steps you need to come up with a business plan. Great. Let's explore the first one. Let's explore the product. What are the competitors? What exists?
Mm,
Let's explore who would use this. Would they really use it?
Mhm.
At the end, I came up with at the guide of GPT, here's a business plan. And in
yeah,
fact, we think there is a market. I know the royal we.
I know,
So
but
that was first.
yeah.
Then, next step, how do you build this? My first step was just what low code tools could I use that a non-programmer can use?
Mhm.
So we went through that and then I just started building. I started signing up. It was rough because here you have this smart engine, but it's going off data, whatever data it uses.
Some of it's
It totally,
outdated. Yeah,
it's not using the correct data for the tools I'm using.
yeah.
It's hallucinating. It's lying to me, even though I've told it a million times. No, that's not correct. But that's the first step, the ideation, and then I did the build. Now, if I could, it's probably a good time to talk about do you want to ask a question before
Well,
we
the
hammer on?
ideation in this version versus the AI version, how do you compare that? So if we go step by step from this is when I used AI and this is when I built a company without AI, what did that look like?
I mean, the without AI is just multiple meetings and conversations and how do you find out the market data? How do you find out if this product could be real? I mean, the whole process, it could be a 6-month process to figure out if there even is potential for this.
But was that information more solid? You just talked about, hey, AI is hallucinating and sometimes has bad sourcing. Is that 6 months give you a more solid base than the night of yelling at GPT?
It's, it's a really good question. I think in some ways, yes, in some ways, no. I think this is why. Now, we're going to get to the hopeful part. I'm going to tease it already.
Yeah.
The experience of someone who knows what questions to ask, who to go talk to, combined with I have all this other information at my tips that can get me pretty far. So the one only no, I think you can go down rabbit holes and get nothing. If you have the experience to understand and then you go talk to people, but this AI accelerates you 100 times, That's the combination.
So,
Yeah.
and let's talk more about the acceleration because it is powerful. So, in other words, coding, right? You say you don't know how to code, or you don't know how to code it to the full extent that a product would need. Now these AIs can code for you. Then you maybe have somebody check the code at the end, but you have to pay that person much less money than if you had hired full time, right? These are the kind of things where AI can remove the barriers to entry.
Yes. So my first version of company was me just talking to AI and then trying to do what it said on these tools. Frustrating, didn't work that well. The second version that's with the new product I'm working on is interesting. I got AI here who's kind of the brain who I'm doing strategy with, and then each of these products have AI in them now.
Mm.
So if I'm coding the website, the front end, or if I'm talking to the database, the back end, they have AI. So I'm saying, hey, great, let's do that. Tell this AI what we need. So
Oh, wow.
and then I'm watching it. So I'm building a site and saying, we have full instructions, the design, all the colors, everything. It's this like massive document. And I'm watching this website build this, and it's not perfect, but
Yeah.
I'm
But
building
it's,
it, or I'm watching it write 1,000 lines of code for a database. I don't really know what that means, but
yes.
then we test it and it works or doesn't, and it
And
worked.
they can
So
fix it if
to
it
your
doesn't.
point, this removes a lot of barriers.
And this is agents. We talk about agentic, right? These are the AIs talking to one another without you in between.
Yes. And that's the third step, which is scary but powerful. Now what happens when I can say, okay, you three AI agents, you talk to each other. I'll be over here
Ooh.
and I'll get back to me tomorrow with some questions and let's see how it's going. That's the next step,
Mhm.
which is both exciting and a little bit scary.
Are these AI programs of chatbots, or are these still within like the generalized, Chat GPT, Claude areas that most people are using?
Both. So you have the user, I'm using just the pro version of Claude or whatever it is, but all of these products and everyone's doing it now, they're training their own agents and their own AI chats with all of their data. So when you say, hey, I need this, it knows what to build. So it's their own
So
custom.
just using a whole bunch of different AI products. So can I ask that
Yeah.
you have 4 AI companies that you have gone through?
Well, three of them are not active because I learned a lot and I decided,
They weren't gonna
I just decided for various reasons we can
move
talk a little
on.
more about them. But yes, that was the learning of like, I really like this, but it works, but no, this
This is
isn't quite right.
and that's how businesses,
Yes,
are
but
born. But what point was it ChatGPT or AI that told you it wasn't going to work, or would that's the human side of it saying, yeah, it might work, but I'm
that's the
just not going to.
beauty. That's the human side. That's me as an entrepreneur with 30 years of experience that took me 12, 18, 24 months to get to, that I got to in a month. My gut said, okay, this is cool. This works, but I'm ready. I don't think I want to try to
You
build a
you were
business out
your
of
own
this.
Shark Tank
Yes.
investor.
Yes.
You were like, I'm going to sit here and listen to my
Well, when it comes
idea,
out to
and
money,
yes.
right?
Yeah, and I'm going to be
It's whether to
like,
put more money in or not.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
in that case, it did. So I'm on my fourth, and this one I'm going to put out. I'm not quite ready, but it's the first one I've said like, yep, we're going to scale this. This is really
And what
interesting.
was the difference?
When you're an entrepreneur, you don't know what the product's going to be like while you're building it. It's just, you're guessing. So
Yeah.
once you have it, again, when you're 2 years in, you realize, oh, this isn't quite right. But a lot of times you push forward because now you have some money, or you've invested time into it. This was that accelerated process. After 1 month, I realized, oh, if I changed it to this, then, oh, this could be really good. So that's the hope. That's like what I failed so many times doing. I failed in 3 months with three of them. And now the fourth, I can get to that and quickly.
What does the $1,000 refer to? What does that cost? What's
Everything.
costing
It has to
paying
be.
for the AI, the pro
I'm
subscription?
talking about, yeah, exactly. GPT, if you're using a front end to build a website, or a back end, or the database, or you're using whatever. I
Or you buy
included
the
all
shirts.
Thankfully, it was only about 500, so I bought shirts for the
Yeah,
other
see?
500. So I'll give those to you.
Thank
Yes, so that's all in. That has to be everything, which is
Okay.
and also it just fit with 1,000.
No, the
so-
one works. The
1,000,
one
but
works.
is
I was
30
just
days
curious
enough?
if you actually spend $1,000 on all these products.
No, not even close.
Probably not.
Not
Right.
even close. w-
30 days long enough to
it's
give yourself the time?
yes. If you're efficient, it's smart enough to get a feel, to get to that point where I know, okay, I want to keep going with this, or no, it's not quite right.
I'm curious because we talk a lot about prompts,
Yeah.
and Lisa always gives me a better prompt
Not always, but
to.
yeah.
Well, and I'm learning, right, to say what is the source of that? Why are you telling me that? And I wonder, because I have a tiny bit of an entrepreneurial experience. At one point, I went to like the Small Business Association, and this they gave some free, um, one-on-one counseling, and it was great because I kind of hated it because they'd ask me this incredibly nice gentleman would ask me questions that I didn't really have answers for, and it made me feel unprepared and like
That's
I was.
humbling. Yeah.
And it was humbling. Like he's like, "Well, where's your business plan? And where's this? And how do you know this? And where are your numbers for this? And have you plotted out this? And what number do you need to sell to be profitable?" And I'm like, "Oh God, this is really uncomfortable." I would imagine ChatGPT would let me avoid that conversation really deeply, the uncomfortable, really uncomfortable parts that this gentleman would not let me ignore if you don't ask the right prompts. These are the right questions I needed to be asked. These are the right decisions I needed to make. If you don't prompt AI to ask you them, you were obviously yelling at your AI at night. So we know
A lot
this
of loud
now.
typing. God.
We know loud
Yeah.
typing, but was that because you prompted it and you didn't like what it said, or is because it was taking you down necessary paths? I mean, I think AI sometimes it will be nicer to you. You can tell it to stop yelling at you. You could have told it to be like, you now have to just validate me everything I say, and it would have. I
What-
think,
Yeah, I think
wouldn't
he
it?
had the opposite problem, right? Because you were trying to push back on the validation.
Oh, you're asking a really good question, because AI is programmed for you to use it, which means it's going to kiss your ass, going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Now, I've gone the other way, and I would recommend this for you and anyone out there. I'm about to go see this person. This is who this person is. Ask all of the hard questions that she or he will ask me, and then let's figure out
Right.
how to
That's
answer
the
them.
prompt.
So exactly. So you have to. AI is it just makes really good guesses at things. It just uses data and like makes great guesses. You have to, you have to prompt it. So my big fight with AI was it was telling me my business plans were incredible. I was the greatest thing ever. I'm a genius. None of
Ah.
these can fail. And I got mad. I said, "Hey, are you just telling me this because you're trying to make me feel good?" And it said, "Yes, I am." And I said, you're what you're supposed to be you're supposed to ask, and
Yeah.
it said, "Hey, this is on you. You're an entrepreneur. My data set is from entrepreneurs. You are all overly optimistic. This is on you. You should
Mhm.
ask me the hard questions. You should tell me to ask you the hard questions." And it was right. You have to prompt it to ask the real questions and be hard on you, or else it's just gonna lose. It's just gonna make you feel good.
Yeah, which I mean and I guess that is my biggest concern because you want to use AI in a way that is helpful. But if you ask it the wrong thing or you don't call it on that, it actually will not be helpful. And that's the danger, right? Among many other things, but that's the
Yes,
danger
I
is that
agree
if
completely.
it tells you, yes, you should
Right.
do this. Oh, AI, should I now spend my savings account on this because this is such a good idea that AI might be like, you know what, you're awesome. Do what you think you
But
should
you
do.
can then type in, poke holes in my argument. Please give me the counter argument. Please tell me why my investors or my board will criticize me at my next board meeting. And
Yes, but you have to ask
you have to
that.
ask
That's
it.
right. So if it's an important lesson for everyone out
You have to
there,
ask
you
it.
really have to critically think, or else it's not going to. That's been my experience.
And yes, and I mean, I think that's where I feel like people are missing that step.
I agree.
Right?
Yes.
Because no one wants to hear that step, and you can take it out. You can take out socially awkward conversations. You can take out all the places you feel bad.
Agree.
You can take out, like, I mean, going back to the nice gentleman who advised me, I was like, oh, I gotta go into this hour-long call where I'm gonna feel terrible. And I did, but I also, it was so important. Like, it was so critical to being smart about it, but that forcing yourself to do that is a very difficult thing, even on a prompt.
Yes. Now I've gone too far the other way where I've said shoot holes in everything. And it basically said, I at in that conversation, I felt like I have no worth in the world.
Oh,
Nothing's going to work ever. So
demoralizing.
the lesson you're saying is a good one. This is not a smart being. This is going to answer in the way that you ask the questions. So make sure you understand prompting and learn to prompt the hard things and the easy things, which is not easy, but it's important.
So the human John brain told you that idea number 4 was the winner, or
Yes.
did AI give you data that said number 4 was the winner?
AI said all of them were winners. I mean, they all, well, I had
On some
started on
level of
that.
winner, right? Like
Yeah.
there's
Right.
some level of winner. Like it depends on what your goal is on a business.
So number one, what I called job tools, it said, yep, the market's there. You can undercut all these competitors. My gut said, okay, I'm looking at their feature set. Do I really want to go after this market? Do I care? Is it
Yeah.
important? Is my gut say that this is going to work? And the answer was no. So even though AI said like, no, this is great. And this is what everyone needs to take. AI, you're the critical thinker still. You're the founder. You make all the hard decisions. You just have this
Yes.
tool and understand this
Because
tool.
you're not spending AI's money.
Nope. This tool is going to help you get more efficient, but it is not going to answer. It's not going to critically think for you. It's not going to answer your questions. And you can have all the agents and everything in the world. And I can get to the hope right now if you guys want,
Well, I
because
was
this
going to say,
transition to it.
I wanted to also talk about job loss versus job creation
Yes.
with AI. So in a way, this could be, as we say, lower the barriers of entry. People graduating college or recently laid off want to figure out how to reinvent themselves or invent themselves. AI is creating many opportunities. You can be a founder, even if you hadn't considered that before. Um, create a business. On the other hand, what is it doing to existing businesses? And tell us about the sort of the landscape. Like, what should we know about AI in business right now with opportunities and then risks?
This is going to be the hard part. This is where we go way down before we end with hope.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm giving you my personal opinion, but also I'm giving you the numbers that have recently come out.
Yeah.
People like Accenture just laid off 11,000 people, and that was a lot of that's due to AI, and they're going to use AI agents, not employees. All the big companies are following suit. They've all spent millions of dollars, millions and millions, adopting this technology, and it's going to be scary. There's going to be a lot of job loss. Anyone who says, sure, there'll be some jobs created, but we're talking about why would you use a human when you can, and this is going to go all the way down, especially, I don't have the data on this, but I've heard stories because I have a lot of friends whose kids are graduating or have graduated. It is harder for them to find jobs. They're finding, again, this is not data, this is just what I've heard. And why wouldn't it be? If you can program an AI agent to do an entry level position instead of hiring someone,
Right.
you will.
No health benefits, no days off. They can do it 24/7.
So I see tough things. I see tough things for businesses. Your market strategy is going to change completely. If you're not prepared for it, if you don't look at this now, you're not going to see a traditional like, oh, we lost 3% this quarter. You might see, oh, we lost 20% this quarter. Because the way that people look at products, the way people find things, it's not going to be Google SEO and SEM. These are completely new ways of doing things. So there are going to be a lot of losers, in my opinion.
Well, if you go from the level of even how you created your businesses, those are consultants you've had to hire, those were coders that you would have had to hire, those were meetings that you've had to maybe with that people with paid services you would have had to hire, and those people would have gotten business off you trying to decide if you could have a business, and they did not get that business. And then when you create your business, then the jobs you do not have to fill, if they can be filled with AI. I guess the side of that is that we have to figure out where the critical thinking is versus the computing and the research, like the information gathering, because that's what, to me, AI does. It information gathers, it data gathers it. And what you're talking about is that final step is not that you cannot replicate that. You cannot be your own AI cannot be your own Shark Tank because it's limited by what its mission is. The computer mission of making you being what you need it to be.
Yes.
Right. And so I don't know how you create the number of jobs like that. I mean, I think we're all trying to look at industries and saying, I mean, there was a time when if you were a coder, you were money in the bank.
Right.
And now you still are, but maybe only, certain level of coders, which
You
the
can't
the
just be
entry
a
level.
coder
Yep.
and have
Right.
money in the
It
bank.
used to
You
be.
have to be exceptional at a certain level in a certain space.
And that
Well,
probably, yeah.
I hear this over and over again. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will take your job. And so I think the lesson too is we all need to lean in and learn AI, right? So that you become valuable.
Yeah, I think it's not one to one though. I think AI does take your job.
Well, no, that's the
Yes,
thing. So
true.
I guess here's the go. I think that job loss is going to be large. I think that it's really hard for small and medium sized businesses because they're just running their business. It's
Hmm.
not like they have time, like, oh, let me just spend time like these big companies are pouring millions into my company to move to agentic AI.
Right.
But I mean, the other thing is that it's intimidating. There's a deer in headlights thing going on right now. Now, what I've realized in what with small and medium sized businesses, but this goes for college kids, this goes for the average person in a job, you have to engage. And AI
Yeah.
is not this thing. And this is what people think, where you just plop it in and it's like everything changes and it's crazy. And I don't know how to do that. It's a step by step process. You can do things that are really simple that make you more efficient, that you learn. This does not have to be overwhelming.
Well, there is a level the playing field. You talk about those small businesses, and I think, and I've heard from entrepreneurs, right, that it's a little everything's more complicated than just the simple thought of, if you take a made in the USA model. Sometimes those small businesses can't afford to make it in the USA, even if they want to. It's either make it somewhere else because of the huge cost manufacturing difference, or don't make it at all, right? And there's all the levels in between that, I've talked to people who say, I'd love to make it here, I just can't. So until I can I still start my business? And so there are some people who couldn't start a business because they can't hire the consultants. They
Mm.
have a great idea, they can't do all of that, they don't have the output of maybe more than $1,000 or even $1,000, and this allows them, or at least assists them in maybe exploring it without having
Yes.
to put so money. So there's a leveling of the playing field, and there's the big dogs who are laying off people because their playing field just got emptier of human people.
Yes. And I think so. I think that's the hope, is that if the potential is almost unlimited and you don't have to do it all in a day. Start with a GPT, start with an idea, start thinking through it. Whether you want to take a
Yeah.
class or talk to people, I mean, if I can, the reason I started with a few business partners, Mindframe partners, was because I think small and medium sized businesses they are deer in headlights. They don't know what to do. And the truth is, with just an overview of here's what's happening, here's what's going to do to your industry, here's how you can head it off. And this isn't oh my God, you have to spend a ton of money now. This is a step by step. And if you do that, you're going to be one of the ones that not only you can get ahead of this and have a product that's better, that costs you less, you could bring the price down, and you can be one of those companies that makes more money. And you've
Yeah.
done this because you're just more efficient with that. You're still making the strategic
Yeah.
decisions. Products are not going to be about, anyone can build a product, and I'm proving that. I'm not a
Mm.
coder. So what is it about? It's about the human, John. It's about the strategy. It's about the gut understanding. If you can have AI do all the other stuff, anyone, including someone who's a student, including someone who's just out there in a job,
Mm.
if you give yourself some of these tools, you'll be fine. But the people who just don't do anything, I may not be fine.
Is your business now top secret, or can you tell us what it is?
Well, the consulting business is, so there are two things. There's this consulting business, which is not top secret.
Yep.
It is, we launched a few months ago, and so we are working actively with customers, and if I can, mindframe-partners.com. Thanks for letting me.
Yeah.
But that is,
I opened the door. You can walk through it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's been amazing because I love looking at other companies with all my experience. Okay,
Yeah.
here's how we can bring AI into this. Here's how your product's going to change. Here's how the market's going to change. And I work with, what's cool is a group of
Mm.
people like me who are I was going to say middle-aged, but more experienced,
More
Yes.
experience, wise.
wiser, even better. And, having someone with that experience who understands AI, that's what you need, is to
Mhm.
is to look through this lens. And I really enjoy working with these companies, no matter, we've worked with a bunch of different products. I really enjoy that. My personal product is not quite ready.
Top secret.
It's a little top secret, but um,
We'll have him
it's
back
going
to
to
talk
use
about it.
Yes.
it's going to use AI to make, I get really frustrated when I'm trying to meet with friends and no one can find time. And you have these text chats that have a bazillion
Yeah.
responses and then we never end up meeting. This solution will address a lot of that, and hopefully
Oh,
very low
a
level way.
social
Yes,
for
we
the
need-
social
we-
good.
We definitely need that.
Yeah. So
For the social good. All right. Well, so if we could ask you like the top 3 tips you would tell someone about AI and the top 3 pitfalls to avoid.
great question. One, just start.
Lean
We
in,
all
just do it.
just
right?
lean in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You can use whatever you use, the free version of ChatGPT. It doesn't matter. If you have an idea or you're doing something at work, if you haven't engaged, just try it. It's really it's not that hard. It's
Yeah.
not that hard because anyone could do it.
And if you're on the free version, it'll stop you at a certain point
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. Which is fine. It might stop you before you start yelling at
Yes.
it in all caps or
In all
typing
caps.
too
Okay.
loud like I do. The second would be to take a if you have the time, take a course. That vaulted
Yeah.
me into this. Oh, I know business, but how does it apply using AI? That was world changing. The course was good, but what I did with that information was what led me to this. And the third would be, surround yourself. I mean, I do this with people. I really don't like AI. You can be very you can feel isolated because you could just sit
Mhm.
and type all day to
Yes.
your frenemy
Yeah.
Yes.
ChatGPT. I really working with other people and keeping the business, the human side of this is I would say you should do that.
Yeah,
If
you
should-
need a check.
Yeah.
A checkpoint, a touchstone
I
to
agree.
say,
Yeah.
are we
Yeah.
looking at this critically?
And we're also people. Let's
Yeah.
be together and come up with ideas together because that's the magic.
Yeah.
AI just lets you do that efficiently.
Because people have to like what you're making, so you might as well make it with other people.
I agree.
All right, pitfalls?
Well, we've talked about this. Don't trust everything
It is a
says.
machine.
It is a machine that just has a whole bunch of data and makes really good guesses at things. So you want it to check itself. You want it to be critical.
Yeah.
You really want to watch. Don't get involved. It's not as much as it's not your friend.
Right.
It's not there to help you. It's there to make money for a company. So be aware of that. How you
Yeah.
use it is really, and because I've for worse, I've gone down a lot of paths with, I need to give it a name. I really need my
Yeah.
AI to have a name.
I
If
don't
guys
think you
come up with-
should because you don't
I
want to
think it's too
personalize it.
close it. Don't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like if you're
That's true.
if your smartest friend, your know-it-all friend, and your like overly
Mhm.
complimentary friend all had a baby.
Yep.
It would be
I feel like it should have a
GPT.
bumper sticker on top of the computer that says this. Remember, this is a machine. This is zeros and ones.
Don't like me that much.
So that's
Yeah.
really the only,
Yeah.
otherwise just however you can engage, take a step. That's the most important one. This
Yeah.
is for students, because I have, 2 amazing
Yeah.
daughters who are juniors in college. They're not, I don't think they're going to be in the AI world, but they're in more environmental sciences. But whatever they do, use AI to better your knowledge, to figure out what to try and test, like whoever you
Figure
are.
out where it helps you.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
because
It's not the same for everyone.
that's a different skill than coming out of college or just being it doesn't matter where you are, mid-level, you're 30 or you're 40 or you're 50. I would just say just
Do you use AI more than your daughters use AI?
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thankfully. They're out doing real things in college,
But-
thankfully.
But their familiarity and their comfort level with it is going to be higher than like I think if generationally, I think you're I don't want to say an anomaly because it makes it sound like the only one. There are certainly all people in all age groups who are embracing AI, but I think the younger generation at least has because if they're native to AI or closer to native to AI,
Mhm.
they're like, yeah, I just use that for that. Where like I have to make an effort to not avoid it, to not,
I agree.
you know,
I think generally that's the case with someone more wise or experienced my age. But since I'm doing this
Yeah.
for a living, I'm probably, but I would say for the average person, yes.
I have to fight the Googler in me
Right.
and to say that might not be the best. But like if we go back to business plans, that's where I found a business plan template. I was like,
Yes.
I need help writing a business plan.
And I do think those of us in the wiser years are going to start using it more and more. I mean,
Yeah.
we already have been using it more and more, you and me.
Well,
And-
Lisa has
yeah.
made me use it more because I'm
Right.
like I have always described that.
And have you
the kitty
enjoyed
train.
it? How have you liked it?
Well, I think it's like anything. Like the more I use it, the more I'm like, huh, that was really helpful, you know. And I literally just said, I'm like, I need to park my car in a place that I can leave it for 3 days, that is secure, that is cost efficient. But then here's where I'm going after that. So when can you? And it was like, oh, well, here are your options. I'm like, well, that was easier.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are ways that I am. When I open myself up to maybe that should be a path I try. It may not be the best path. I did it. We did a test case here and we had them say, can you come up with a research packet? There was a lot in that research packet was wrong. Like we looked at it, I'm like, that's not correct. That guy is not that, you know, because it was old information that it was
Yeah.
using and it was pulling incorrect information. But it was a
Mhm.
good test thing just to see how quickly it came up with stuff. I'm like, well, you know, and I think the more I use it, the more I understand what I would use it for and I wouldn't use it for. And
Yes.
that's, I think, the key. It's not that I'm like, yes, now it is the answer to all my problems, but I am more identify where it helps me and where I don't like it or where it needs work.
Right. And the other thing is, if we remember when anything new was introduced, there was a time where we said, oh my gosh, we would never give our credit card information online. And now we just do all our online shopping and give the credit card no problem.
Yeah.
Or, the other example is in the olden days with our landline phones, you never knew who was calling you. Right. Now you would never answer the phone if you don't know who the caller is. Right. You would,
Yes.
if there's no
Well-
caller ID, you would not answer it. And we've just changed our habits and we've adopted the technology as it's come. I do believe that that'll happen with AI for, older generations.
I mean, I think
But
it's a
it'll take
mindset.
slower.
It's a mindset when
Yeah.
you're talking about. Like, I'm desperate
Yeah.
for growth is how I describe myself. I want to grow in all areas, and that requires me to do things that are uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so I think young people are just growing in general, so they don't notice that. They just try new things because why wouldn't you? But I think as you get older, you're like, I'm comfortable. Why is there always something new? You want to be like the master of your craft at some point
Yeah.
and life being included in that. And so everything that changes that makes you now not the master of your craft is annoying. It doesn't mean it's not better, but it's annoying, right? We want to be good at things. But you apparently are really good at starting new things.
I will say this, and this goes to what you just said. I don't know how good I am at anything. I know I'm not afraid to push
find
and
out.
try.
Right.
To find
And
out.
that's what you just said, and that's what I think the lesson is. Like, don't just go, just try something. Because I haven't done magic. I've had some okay and some successful companies and a lot of failures. I just like doing it. So
But if each one you learn from,
Yes.
is it really a fail? I
No.
mean, I think that's the question.
Thank you. And that's great advice I need to take for myself because it hurts
Yeah.
to fail. But I'm here today because of all those successes and failures and everything in between.
Aren't we all from
Yeah.
And the curiosity to lean in is the founder, the
So annoying.
recipe that you need to be a founder, and you've got it.
Yeah.
Leaning
It's
in,
annoying,
love
but
it.
I really love it.
having the
So
curiosity, trying new things is amazing.
I'm impressed.
Yes.
I mean, it
Well,
is
thank
it
you.
is it is not for the weak
No.
to start new businesses because it is you put your heart, your soul into it, and then you're like, I mean, that's why maybe at night instead of fighting with AI, you should be like, AI, aren't I awesome for keep
Yes.
being willing to do this? And AI will be like, yes, John,
yes,
you
Yes, you
are awesome.
I'm gonna put that in there when I get home.
Put that
and
prompt
I'll
in
text
like
you and
every
see
night.
what
You
it
have like a
said.
nightly affirmation
love
of
it.
your awesomeness. Like,
Done.
here's ready for my nightly awesome affirmation, and it will deliver. See, AI is
Yeah.
great. We end on hope.
love
We
it.
end on positive
We
things.
love it.
All right, Don.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It was great to
Yeah.
great to chat.
Great conversation.
All right.
Thank you. See you next time.